Hi, today we're going to talk about how to figure out what kind of plants are best to plant in your area. But first I want to talk about the character trait of the day, and the character trait for today is thrifty. So what does it mean to be thrifty? Well, being thrifty means using your resources wisely. And a lot of times when we say that, most of the time we're talking about money, saving money, and being smart with how you spend your money. But it could also apply to a lot of different things, and among them is conserving natural resources. For example, when you plant plants, if you learn more about the type of plants that grow best in your area, it helps us conserve our resources. We don't waste time, we don't waste seeds, we don't plant plants that can't survive by planting the wrong type of plants in our area. So the first thing you need to know before you plant a plant in your area is to know your growing zone, okay? So the key is that different plants require different types of care. Some plants need a lot of sun, and some plants like the shade. And you can also imagine that some plants do best when it's cold outside. Other plants do best when it is hot outside. Some plants need lots of water. Other plants don't need very much water at all. You guys might be familiar with a cactus. Cactus does not need very much water at all. It likes to grow in the desert. Other plants, like a lot of the grasses that we have in our yards, need a decent amount of water. And the good way to tell what kind of plant works best in your area is to know what your growing zone is. So I'm going to show you a map here. You can see this. This is a map of the United States, as you can see, and the different colors represent different zones. And if you can see that, it starts with zone 1, which is the coldest zone, which basically just exists in the very northern tip of Alaska. This is Alaska down here. Zones 1 and 2 are right there in Alaska. It's almost up into the Arctic Circle there. That's the coldest area, and it kind of looks like a weather map, right, as it goes down into the lowest zones, 11. You see zone 10 down here at the tip of Florida. Zone 11 is actually only in Hawaii. That's the hottest zone. For most of us, it's everything in between. And these different zones, these are called hardiness zones. And they represent different climates, the way the United States has different climates, and different plants will grow better in some climates than they do in others. In general, kind of like a weather map, the blue represents a colder area where there's maybe a little more rainfall. The green is kind of the more temperate zones, right in the middle, where it's not too hot, not too cold, and gets a decent amount of rainfall. And as you get into the yellow and orange area, you're getting into an area where it's really, really hot. And in some cases, it doesn't get much rain. So you can see how, if you were looking to buy a plant, you wouldn't want to plant, if you were, say, living down here in zone 8, which is, by the way, where I live, you would not want to plant a plant that's made for zones 4 or 5 or something like that. And when you buy little seed packets at the plant store, or when you buy the plant itself, often there will be a little tag on it that says which zone it grows best in. A good source of information is maybe like a local, called a nursery. It's a plant store where you buy plants, and a lot of times people at those shops can tell you what grows best in your area. As an example, I just planted in my backyard not too long ago a plant called a sweet olive. And it's a bush, and it gets to be about 6 to maybe 10 feet tall, and it grows best in zones 8 to 10. So I'm in zone 8 here in Texas, and this plant grows well in zone 8, 9, or 10. If I were to get in my car and drive just a few hours north up into Oklahoma, you could see we'd start getting into zone 6 up there, zone 5, and that plant would not grow well there. So it's important that you plant a plant that's appropriate for your area to give it the best chance to survive. If you plant a plant that is not appropriate for your area, you may have to give it tons and tons of extra water, and that's not being very thrifty of our resources, right? If you have to water a plant all the time, over and over again, to keep it alive, well, you're better off just planting a plant that doesn't need that much water, because obviously it's not getting what it needs from the natural rainfall and things like that. If you're curious to know what zone you live in, there's a really good tool I can recommend for you online. It's the, I would say, grab a trusted adult, get someone you trust to get on the internet and search for USDA hardiness zones. That's HARDINESS. And the United States Department of Agriculture the Agricultural Research Service has a really good tool in which you can put in your zip code and you can find your zone. And then you can do some research to find out what kind of plants grow best in your zone. And the USDA website will even show you a zoomed in map. As you can see, this map doesn't go into a lot of details, but online, the USDA has a map that will zoom in on your particular state and show you in specific where you live at your address and which zone you're in and which plants would work best in your zone. That is our lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and please tune in again tomorrow. Thank you.